When people talk about the crisis between the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda, well, they often start from the map: borders, sovereignty, diplomacy. But Rwanda starts somewhere else. It starts from memory. Rwanda has been very clear about one thing: its security cannot be understood as beginning at its own borders. Not because Rwanda seeks influence, but because history taught it brutally what happens when threats are allowed to grow just beyond them. In 1994, the genocide against the Tutsi unfolded under the watch of the United Nations Security Council, and these are the most powerful states on earth. They were warned, they did nothing. And more than 1 million people were killed in just 100 days. And still, nothing was done to stop it. But what is even less discussed is what happened after. The perpetrators, they were not dismantled. They were not neutralized. They fled, largely into what is today Eastern Congo. And they reorganized, rebranded, and continued their project. And they have been doing so for 3 decades. This is not abstract history of Rwanda. It is lived experience. Between 1994 and 1999, genocidal forces operating from Congolese territory launched an insurgency aimed at finishing what they had started. Civilians were killed, genocide survivors were targeted, schools were attacked, children were separated by ethnicity and murdered. This was not theoretical insecurity, it was existential. And today, many observers argue, that the FDLR is weak, that its numbers have declined. But numbers are not the point anymore. The threat has evolved. What we are witnessing now is not the FDLR as a fugitive militia hiding in forests. It is the FDLR as a state-embedded actor. Through the Wazalendo framework, genocidal forces have gained access to weapons, logistics, intelligence, and political protection. They have positioned themselves as the ideological and operational core of a much larger armed ecosystem. This is a system-level threat, and that distinction matters. When Rwanda's ambassador to the US explained the security reality before the Congress, some rushed to claim it was proof that Rwanda supports AFC M23. But that conclusion is wrong. Explaining a threat is not the same as endorsing a political movement. Security analysis is not political sponsorship. Rwanda is not choosing sides in Congolese politics. It's not seeking to determine governance outcomes in the DRC. And it does not endorse armed groups as substitutes for inclusive governance. Its concern is singular: preventing the re-emergence of a genocidal cross-border insurgency. Reducing this to accusations of backing rebels may be convenient, but it avoids the real question: why are genocidal forces being tolerated, protected, and integrated into state-sanctioned security structures in the first place? We have seen this movie before. In Sudan, militias empowered by the state, they turned into the Rapid Support Force, and the country collapsed into civil war. In Ethiopia, reliance on irregular armed groups produced fragmentation and prolonged violence. The DRC is now walking the same path, but with one crucial difference here: the ideological core of this mobilization is genocidal. And Rwanda knows what that means, because Rwanda rebuilt itself while carrying open wounds in its own flesh, while reconstructing its social fabric, while choosing reconciliation over revenge. And it did so largely alone. No one came in 1994. No one dismantled the genocidal networks afterward. No one protected Rwanda for the last 30 years. So today, no one can credibly tell Rwanda it must outsource its survival. Rwanda is not choosing sides in Congo. It is preventing another genocide. And until genocidal forces are dismantled, not explained away, not rebranded, not absorbed, Rwanda will continue to act on the lesson history imposed upon it. Never again is not a slogan, it is a responsibility.